we don't have the proper equipment in our doctor's offices so wheelchair users like me can get full, complete exams safely. And you're going to tell me there's one entire hospital out of the group of doctors that I try to see that does a sleep study. One hospital in the entire Ohio State medical system that does a sleep study. That is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And it needs to change.
This episode of Nick Speaks is brought to you by the Columbus Restorative Massage and Wellness Studio. At Columbus Restorative, every session is designed to restore balance to the body and mind. From easing stress and tension to supporting overall wellness, their team provides more than just a massage. It's a complete restorative experience. It's about truly restoring your body and mind so you can show up as your best self every single day. Whether you're stressed, sore, or simply need time to reset, their team knows exactly how to help you feel renewed. And listeners of the Nick Speaks podcast can enjoy 20% off their next visit by booking online and using the code SPEAKUP at checkout. That's SPEAKUP, SPEAKUP. Take time to recharge, renew, and restore with Columbus Restorative Massage and Wellness Studio. Now let's begin today's episode of Nick Speaks.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to this brand new episode of the Nick Speaks podcast, the podcast dedicated to the disabled community, where we speak up, speak out, and speak loud about the issues that matter to the disabled the most. I am your ever so sexy host, Nick Comstock. You guys, thank you so much for joining me on this Tuesday, this first Tuesday in December. I can't believe it. We're already in December 2025. I almost said 2026, but that's not true. I can't believe that we're already here in December. It's been a great year for me. I hope it's been a great year for you. And I hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving and started your Black Friday shopping and Cyber Monday shopping. Because we're all into that stuff now. So I hope you're really getting in the Christmas spirit. All right, you guys. Before I get into today's monologue, I want to say thank you to my friends at Columbus Restorative Massage and Wellness Studio for sponsoring this episode of Nick Speaks. You guys, Christmas is almost here. I can't think of a better way to say Merry Christmas and I love you to some of your best friends and loved ones than saying, hey, get a massage on me. Or I can't think of a better way to treat yourself and to end the year relaxed so you can gear up and get ready for all the great stuff that's going to happen in 2026. So visit my friends at Columbus Restorative Massage and Wellness Studio today. When you sign up online to get 20% off your visit, use the promo code SPEAK UP for 20% off. Thank you to my friends at Columbus Restorative Massage and Wellness Studio for your sponsorship and your support of this podcast. I really, really appreciate it. Well, you guys, today I have a monologue for you, and I want to talk to you about what a pain in the neck it is to be a wheelchair user and to do something as simple as go to the doctor. This is a real pain in the neck for me because I'm not able to bear weight on my legs. So I'm not able to transfer to a primary care doctor's table to get a full exam. So the only time that I've ever had a full exam is if I had to go to the hospital in an emergency situation because the doctors aren't equipped with Hoyer lifts. And if they are equipped with a Hoyer lift, it's like it's like going on the monkey bars at school again. It's very unsafe. Nobody in the doctor's office knows how to use a Hoyer lift, believe it or not. And most doctor's office has a policy, well, we're not allowed to help you transfer because of insurance policies. Well, then why do you even see wheelchair users? Because many of us need help transferring. And if we come by ourselves on public transportation and we don't have anybody to help us transfer, then we're not going to get the full exam that we need um because we can't transfer. And another issue is, even just getting these things from getting the doctor to understand that, hey, I'm a wheelchair user and this is the stuff I need your office to have is like, well, that's too much money. At that point, what is the ADA good for? Because, yeah, I can get in your building, but I can't really access the part of your building that you need me to access in order to have a healthy exam. And, everybody wants to say, well, they're required to have Hoyer lifts and they're required to have this equipment. Well, a lot of doctors' offices don't. And even the Hoyer lifts at the hospital are terrible. And I'm going to open up to you about a little situation I've had to put on pause because hospitals aren't equipped with what I need. Hospitals, even. So back in June, I went for a sleep study and I was diagnosed with sleep apnea, severe sleep apnea. And they said, Nick, if we have to come in and put a mask on you during the night, that means you have severe sleep apnea. Sure enough, they had to do so. But let me back up a little bit. So when I got to the sleep study, it was made clear that I needed a Hoyer lift and everything else like that. They said, okay, that's fine. But here's the thing that threw me off completely. They said, we're not allowed to transfer you. Bring somebody with you, of course, and all that stuff. Well, actually, I didn't find that out until I was there, which I'm glad that I brought my caregiver with me because they told me we're not allowed to transfer you due to insurance purposes or whatever. Here's your Hoyer lift. But here's the problem. Everybody in that room when I showed up on June 2nd for my sleep apnea test had to end up helping to transfer me because the Hoyer lift, like I said just a few moments ago, it's almost like you're riding on the monkey bars at the playground. It's not even set up for a sling like mine. And nobody knows how to use it. So they were just stepping in and saying, oh, this is how you use it. And it took 4 people to get me in the bed, minus the one caregiver that I brought with me. But technically, those people were not allowed to help me. They don't have nurses in the sleep lab. So I was very grateful to have my caregiver there, to help me go to the bathroom at night. And they did provide my caregiver a room to sleep so that I would not be disturbed. So let me go into this a little bit further. I get the sleep apnea machine, and the company never ends up sending me the right equipment. We call and we call and we call and we call. We email. I even physically go up to the company that provides the sleep equipment and I said, look, you're not sending me the right mask. This is what I need. They called me in while I was in a restaurant and they said, we need to measure your face over the phone for a mask. And I said, sure. So I sat in the restaurant that I was at, did the measurements, and they said, okay, by this time it was Labor Day weekend. They said, okay, we'll send your mask out. It might be a little it might be a little after the holiday because of a holiday weekend. I never received the proper mask. I always felt with this sleep machine that I was gasping for air at one point. I shouldn't say always. I'll back up because I did have a couple nights where I did sleep really, really well. But you're supposed to change these masks every 3 months, and I guess it's the person's responsibility to call and say, "Hey, I need a new mask, or I need new filters, or whatever else," which is fine. But they never sent me the right equipment to begin with. And the only mask that I had that was able to fit me was the mask that they gave me during the sleep study. But I have to tell you that even during the sleep study, the person had to come in there and keep adjusting the mask because the mask kept falling off. So, needless to say, if you don't use your sleep apnea machine within the first 3 months, the insurance takes it away from you and they want you to do a sleep study over again. I said, well, they never really sent me the right equipment, and I'm trying to uh, get the right equipment. Well, that doesn't matter. We need you to come do another sleep study because they wouldn't let me just switch DME providers, durable medical equipment providers. They want me to come in and do another sleep study. And I said, okay, well, can I have it done at another location? And they said, no, we only do it at one location, which I'm going to name the location. They said, no, we only do it at Ohio State East. And I said, well, I could have fallen if it wasn't for my caregiver helping me because nobody was really professional over there. Nobody knew how to use the wire lift except my caregiver. In fact, my caregiver was telling them, no, this is not the way to do it. You're doing it wrong. And they continued to do it the same way. And so I can't believe that in a place as big as Columbus, Ohio, that Ohio State East is the only place in all of the Ohio State hospital system that can be set up for a sleep study. Because my doctor told me, well, you could go do it at Ohio Health, but I don't know if Medicare will pay for it because you know, you you're at Ohio Health and it's a different system and we can hope that they will pay for it and blah blah blah. So right now, I just put everything on hold. I said I'm not doing this again. Plus, I saw some studies that allegedly state if you get on a sleep apnea machine, you only extend your life by 3 years, allegedly. That's what I found out through some videos by doing some research online that you supposedly only extend your life by 3 years if you use a CPAP machine. Now, I'm saying allegedly because I don't know if that's accurate, but that's what I um, saw when I saw the videos concerning sleep apnea. That's what I was told, that allegedly you only extend your life by 3 years when you use a CPAP. Well, my question is, why do y'all have to make this so difficult for wheelchair users in particular? And I know it's difficult for non wheelchair users. The medical system is such a pain, but this isn't. about people with non-disabilities. This is about people with disabilities. And this is why I'm here. And I speak up and I speak out and I speak loud about the issues that matter to the disabled the most. Why do you all have to make it so difficult? You don't, in 2025, we don't have the proper equipment in our doctor's offices so wheelchair users like me can get full, complete exams safely. And you're going to tell me there's one entire hospital out of the group of doctors that I try to see that does a sleep study. One hospital in the entire Ohio State medical system that does a sleep study. That is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And it needs to change. And we need to pass some laws that require doctor's offices to have functional working Hoyer lift with trained staff that are able to do it. Because even if we bring our caregivers may be elderly. And I say are because I'm speaking for the disabled community as a whole. So, yeah, disabled people may be able to bring their caregivers, but they may not be able to transfer them like they need to be transferred. Well, if they have a Hoyer lift, they're okay. Yeah. But we've already discussed in this episode that the doctor's offices and the hospitals who do have Hoyer lifts are absolute crap and they need to be redone. What would be great is you guys can't see it because I use a background on my podcast, but here in my room, my home office, also known as my bedroom, I have a track ceiling lift that is installed in my ceiling. So there's no push weight lift. There's nothing like that. Nobody has to worry about, tipping the Hoyer lift over. Thank God I've never fallen out of a track lift. Knock on wood. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but I just knocked on my desk. It would be great if America in 2025 would invest in track lifts to put in every hospital, in every doctor's office, for every kind of doctor that's out there. I can't go to the chiropractor because I don't have a Hoyer lift in order to transfer. I used to have a manual Hoyer lift that I left at my chiropractor's office to use when I go to the chiropractor, but I don't even have that anymore. Right now, I'm trying to get a portable electric Hoyer lift for travel purposes to not only help me when I go on speaking engagements, but to help me go to places like the chiropractor. And hey, maybe I can actually go redo my sleep study if I have the proper lift that I need to be able to use it safely. You say, Nick, well, why can't you just get that through Medicaid? You know why? Because no DME companies in my county want to pay for an electric Hoyer lift, first of all, because they say it's going to get denied by Medicaid because it's an electric Hoyer lift. And there's Medicaid is telling me that I can just go ahead and use the Hoyer lift with the crank. So then deny the automatic Hoyer lift and then the labor will pick it up. Well, they don't even want to do that because the DME companies say that it's not beneficial for them because they lose serious money because the Medicaid reimbursement rate is so low. So who ends up suffering in the end? People like me, I do, And what is the big deal, Medicaid, for paying for an automatic electric portable wear lift? You guys pay for power chairs, but why won't you pay for an automatic portable wear lift? Well, we have to use a special code 1369. Okay, well, they tried to use that code and 1369 didn't work. And no DME company wants to uh, pay to order the type of wear lift that I need because of the low reimbursement rate that Medicaid gets. And you guys want to turn around at Medicaid and say, well, they're not allowed to do that. Really? How are you going to tell another business what they can and cannot do? These are things that I know that I not only struggle with, but hundreds, maybe thousands of you that are wheelchair users. You can't get the medical equipment that you need or to go to the medical appointments that you need to go to simply because they either deny the equipment that you need or they don't have the equipment to properly help you at your appointment. And yet, America is the greatest nation on earth. Yes, it is. And I would rather not be in another country than America. But you know what? For America being the greatest nation on earth, and having all the wonderful things that we have and all the other resources that we have, it's pretty bad that the folks with disabilities in this country have to fight so hard to get a simple automatic Hoyer lift that's portable so I can go to doctor's appointments. And hey, here's an idea, go spend a night in a hotel once in a while. I'm not asking you guys to pay for a hotel stay. I'll pay for that myself. I just need to have the proper equipment so that I can go do it safely. And I love the Medicaid response that I've been told by people on my team. Well, the Medicaid response is that you don't really need an automatic portable Hoyer lift because if your staff's trained properly, they can use the one with the crank and be okay. No, they can't. They could be trained as well as a Vander Holyfield, okay? And they would still need an automatic one to do it in a safer way. And you know what? They still may need two staff with the automatic Hoyer lift because wheelchair users, unfortunately, because we sit so much and we don't move, we're fat. And I'm fat. And I may need the help. I may need the extra staff. So, why is it such a big issue for me to get, for someone like me to get services that I know I need, and that's not a luxury, okay? Please don't tell me that because nothing about having a physical or a mental disability is luxury. There's nothing luxury about it, okay? If you think me having an automatic Hoyer lift is luxury and you're in the Medicaid system, then please go back to a wood fire stove and please get rid of your washers and your dryers, okay? Because if you're going to decide what's luxury for me and you have no idea what I go through in my life just to live everyday simple life, then I'm going to start deciding what's luxury for you. It's absolutely ridiculous. And, I can't even believe I have to have a conversation like this, but this is why this podcast is here, is to bring the issues that the disabled are struggling with from the back to the front. And you know what? We've been silent for way too long. And I would really love to know what it's like in other states for wheelchair users to go to the doctor because I know other states have different things and other states run differently. So I don't want to act like I'm speaking for the entire country, But like I've said, I can almost guarantee you that there are hundreds and maybe possibly thousands of wheelchair users that will potentially listen to this that have the same struggles that I do, or even worse, when it comes to going to the doctor or trying to get medical equipment that they need. Because I love what my case managers say all the time. And I know I have my current case manager listen to this. So I'm not talking about you specifically, case manager, but I've had case managers in the past, their favorite phrase to me was, "Well, Nick, you're not the only one." Well, then if you know I'm not the only one having the same struggle, then why hasn't somebody done anything to fix it? Because you've been told again and again, and well, I can only do so much. I'm just a case manager. I'm just a supervisor. I don't make the big decisions. If I was making the big decisions, I would. No, you would probably be sitting up there in your cushy chair, making your $400,000 a year, whatever the big wigs make in these companies that send these denial letters out, that have no idea what it's like to live with somebody with a disability, no idea what it's like to deal with a family member that has a disability. Maybe you don't live with them, but it's like, oh my goodness, it's like people in Medicaid and Medicare wake up today and they have some joy and glee and they say, ah, who can I deny today? Who can I make it difficult for today? All the while, I'm not able to get a complete health exam, and I'm not able to go have a sleep study where I feel safe and comfortable, and I don't feel like I'm going to get dropped because people want to make stupid decisions and say, well, the people that are at the sleep study are not actually able to help you transfer. What if I didn't have that information? What if I didn't bring my caregiver ahead of time? Then I really would have been screwed. And then you want to cause me more red tape by saying OSU East is the only hospital in the Ohio state system that does sleep studies. So if you want to try to go do it at another hospital at Ohio Health, you can hope that Medicare will pay for it and go try, but you would have to register as a patient. All while you sit back there and go in your Cadillacs and your Mercedes as doctors and go live your comfortable life while you have a 4-day work week and spend Friday to Monday on a golf course. It really needs to change, folks. Our medical system for the disabled really needs to change. We need accessible doctor's offices. And when I say accessible, and if I was there when the ADA was put in place, which I wasn't, I was being born or I was in my mama's womb because it was put in place in 1990, the ADA, I believe. But if I was writing rewriting the ADA today, which seriously needs to be done, by the way. It hasn't been updated for almost 36 years. If I was to rewrite the ADA laws today, I would say accessibility just does not mean getting a wheelchair in the building. It means accessibility to all parts of the building, meaning the doctor's office table, meaning the x ray room, meaning the MRI room, having all access. You've heard of CBS All Access. Well, it used to be called CBS All Access. Now it's called Paramount Plus. But it was CBS All Access. You pay so much money per month or per year, and you get access to their whole catalog, not just part of it. Because I guarantee you, if somebody was paying a service, say like we'll just use Paramount Plus because that's the one I brought up. But if somebody was paying $10 a month for Paramount Plus and they were only allowed to access 30 shows out of the thousands of shows that Paramount Plus has to offer, I don't think they would pay that, would they? But for some reason, because I get government funded insurance, I should just be lucky that I have access in to see the doctor and not the whole office. Isn't that rich? It's just so great. So, what are we gonna do? I would like to invite some doctors on this program to say, here's my solution to fix it. Here's what my office does to make people with disabilities have access. Or here's what my office is trying to do, but insurance doesn't want to pay for it. And oh, what are we going to do about these lousy Medicaid reimbursement rates? I would love somebody from the Ohio Medicaid department or from the federal Medicaid department. Hey, Dr. Ross, come on my show. You're the one that's running Medicaid now. What can we do about these Medicaid reimbursement rates to get them higher for the companies to say, you know what? Yeah, I'll do it. Because I guarantee you, these companies, they don't just lose peanuts, okay? They probably lose thousands of dollars because of the Medicaid reimbursement rate. And that's why they won't do it. And before you say it's all about the money for these businesses, I am starting to understand too that in order for businesses to be open for the disabled, they have to make a decent bottom line. They can't just go doing it for peanuts. So if the Medicaid reimbursement rate is too low, that seriously needs to be looked at and it needs to be taken seriously, not only on a state level, but a federal level. And can we get some more people that have life experience that are in charge of sending denials and approvals? And can we make it more simple instead of the mumbo jumbo that comes in these Medicaid mailings where nobody understands what you're talking about? I mean, it's nuts. It's nuts. That would be my Christmas gift for this year. If somebody in Medicaid could listen to this program and take this particular episode and say, "Hey, these are issues that this guy Nick brought up from Nick Speaks. What can we do about it?" Don't just take my episode and be like, "Ah, it's a lot more trouble than what Nick knows, so we'll just let him vent and have a good time." My greatest Christmas present would be if something could come out of this episode and somebody at the state levels of Medicaid all across this country or federal levels all across this country would say, you know what, Nick has a point. We really need to think about updating our doctor's offices and our hospitals with the appropriate Hoyer lifts and with the appropriate equipment so that people like Nick can get full healthy exams. And so he doesn't have to wait for people like him don't have to wait until they go into the hospital for a kidney stone or something like that to get a full, thing of x-rays done. I mean, honestly, because if my doctor were to send if my primary doctor were to send me for x-rays, that I would have to call an ambulance service, schedule a time with them, be brought in on a stretcher because otherwise I would have no way to have an x-ray done because they don't have a wear lift. So I still have to use manpower in order to get it done. We say this country is the greatest country in the world, but I honestly don't believe it for the disabled people. I honestly don't believe it for the disabled people, and I wish I could say that. I wish I didn't have to say that. We need to do better in our medical system providing more efficient care for people that are in wheelchairs that need help transferring. Maybe there's some things that I've left out. I'm just telling you my life experience. That's what this podcast is all about, to share my life experience as a person with a disability and to have guests come on and share their life experience. So that's what I'm doing today. And our country needs to do a better job. And where I am in Ohio, needs to do a better job. Especially, how in the state of Ohio can you only have one spot in the Ohio state system that does sleep studies? Really? That's ridiculous. But, most of you probably listening to this are like, oh, can you stop the rant about that? No. And I'm going to rant until it gets fixed. Anyway, thank you for listening to this episode today. And I really hope that it'll um, light a fire under some medical professionals to either take some state, local level action with their state Congress or some federal action to improve the medical system for wheelchair users and other people with disabilities. Thank you for listening. This is the Nick Speaks podcast, the podcast dedicated to the disabled community where we speak up, speak out, and speak loud and sometimes yell about the issues that matter to the disabled the most. I am your ever so sexy host, Nick Comstock. Thank you for joining me. I will see you next week. Bye bye.